Hello, people down under. This is kind of a fun interview. It's 1 a.m. yesterday here. Fabienne is running the show from tomorrow morning, and I guess that in Western Australia it's early afternoon, and New Zealand it's early evening. So across many times and many days, here we are. I was coming on here this time to talk about the New Zealand and Australia qualifying. Start with Australia, which their team was in 2020, they finished sixth. In 2022, they finished third. In 2024, they finished second. So there's a mathematical progression there where they have their placement each championship, and I think we can do the math from where they go from number two. Looking over the Australian team and the Australian qualifying, I think of something that they say a lot in team sports in the US, which is iron sharpens iron. I don't know if this is a universal saying, but I think you know what it means that if you have hard competition on your team, then it makes for a stronger team. So I think iron sharpens iron. It should be the theme for the Australian team. There's one reason everyone's looking at it, that Australia's probably given the best chance of anybody of unseating the Belgians this year. The team is led by the reigning individual champion and the world record holder, Phil Gore, who is currently, I think, pretty much undisputably the best backyard runner in the world, and the probably the only honor that he doesn't have on his wall would be to be the leader of the world championship team. And I think that he's got a bunch of guys that can bring him to do it. He's got plenty of help there. There's a lot of depth. Jonathan Ash has done 100 yards. Ryan Crawford's done 95. Dan Kamac's done 93. You know that you're going to have the people there to carry the race to a real high number of laps. The 10 places on the at-large portion, it is packed with athletes that are seasoned in international competition. They really look strong with that, and they've already had their first silver ticket event, the GV Backyard, which added Matthew Dube, who is also a seasoned expert. But I think going through, they got four more backyard or silver tickets to go. And I think you're going to see some new faces on the team. You've got Hurdy's coming up in Perth in March. You got Sydney on the East Coast in April. You've got a monster weekend on August the 1st. They've got Reds in northeastern Australia and the Clint Eastwood in southeastern Australia, which will be pretty much the last chance races. And people are going to go into those knowing what the standings is. You know you're going to put two people on the team, but with the kind of fields that they'll put together, I think it's a pretty sure bet you'll see some challenges for the lower places on the at-large list. So it's going to be a really fun spring and summer in Australia, watching to see how things shape up. And I think I'll say it one more time, iron sharpens iron. It's going to be some kind of competition over there. Then when I looked at New Zealand, on paper, you got a pretty good gap between New Zealand and Australia. But as a guy who just kind of likes numbers, there was an interesting thing. In 2020, New Zealand was 16th. In 2022, they finished 11th. And in 2021, they finished 6th. Every year, they advanced 5 places in the standings. And so, like, once again, just like Australia, you do the math, and 6 minus 5, you know what that is. So, mathematically, on the mathematical progression scale, Australia and New Zealand are on a collision course. And on paper, there's a gap, but this is the backyard, and anything can happen. On top of which the Kiwis are known to be a pretty feisty lot. So it's been really come up with the backyard in New Zealand over the last couple of years. They have the big dogs at the top. Again, you got Sam Harvey at 118, who just happened to have been the assist in the world record run for Phil Gore. And you got Simon McLean, who's done 90. So you got some pretty good guys. You know, you got the people there to make it go deep. The at-large list currently is mostly made up from people from the 2024 team. But qualifying is going to really start heating up in New Zealand. They don't have any of their silver tickets done yet. They've got the MASH coming up in January, the Pigs in February, the Venerable River Laps relay in March. That's, I believe, the first backyard in New Zealand, and the one that I got to go to once upon a time. And then finally, they have the crazy midwinter in July, which is always amusing to us people on the northern side of the globe because July is not our midwinter. Uh, and then I think it works out really good for New Zealand that the 2 August races, the 2 last chance races in Australia, are kind of going to be a good last chance for the New Zealand runners who want to make the team. It's not a bad trip to go over there and run in either one of those, and know that they're in a packed field where that they have a chance to bump people off the at-large list. So the guys at the bottom of the at-large list will probably either be in Australia trying to protect their position or sitting at home and watching the internet, hoping for the best. Um, it's going to be a real entertaining time. And then when it comes time for the big show, New Zealand has moved up, Australia's moved up. They have a mathematical progression that has them heading for a collision course. And so I think that that's going to be one of the really fun side competitions inside the backyard world championship, is what happens in the land down under. So that's what I've got on those two teams. If I think Fabienne has some interviews with the team managers, I got to tell you, I've never done an interview before. I couldn't have picked a better one. I think my conclusion was, if you interview the right people, interviewing is not near as hard because you just ask a question and then listen. I enjoyed the interview. Hopefully y'all enjoy it as much as I did. I was ready to come down there and try to make one of those teams myself. So on to Fabienne. Fabienne.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I'm sitting here, not actually with, but across the monitor from the illustrious team manager for Team Australia, Red Barnett. And I would like to welcome her here on the podcast and say we're proud to have you, and launch right into our questions since we don't have a lot of time. And
Thank you.
the first one right off the bat is, has Team Australia selected a venue?
Well, yes. So it's going to be held at Red's Backyard Ultra in Kembla Grange, which is, about 20 minutes south of Wollongong on the coast. A really nice venue. It is a highly kind of maintenance type of venue. It's a state cross country course, so a nice course, a really nice course.
I've been looking at the rosters of everybody leading up, and you have some really strong people on the list,
Yeah.
but you still
Yeah.
got four silver tickets, and I wondered if you guys have got some up and comers. I know you surely do, but if some
Yeah.
of them that you're looking for.
Yeah, so obviously, we've got some really strong people in Australia. And just off that at-large list, I know they'll pop up as a silver ticket, people move up the list as a silver ticket comes. But realistically, anybody just, a big handful of, 10 odd people just under that are really hungry and really wanting to go deep. Um, I guess if I first talk about the females, so we've got Holly Ranson just on the 16th, but mind you, like I said, might pop up. But the second female along, who I think does have potential, it was an attempt at Reds this year, Nachi Fanilla. Um, but she needs a good race to a good event to really push her. And for her to now get to that point where she'd be on the list, she'd need to, dig pretty deep and break a new woman's record. But not impossible. I think she's got the potential for it. There's a lot, like some guys, there was a few that came to Reds in October. Daryl Tollett was one. He unfortunately had to pull out early due to health reasons. But he's signed up again, next year, early next year at Sydney's Silver. He is, further down the list, but he's really, really hungry and has potential. We've got Brandon Lee, known as the Crow. He's really keen yeah, he does this. Oh my goodness, I'm going to do this. He does this caw, and everybody over here, when they run past him or they talk about him. So I will be in so much trouble if I didn't do that. One I think is really, really interesting to watch out for would be he's known as Ezra Dingo or Akira, as he's known on your list. He definitely has some potential. He in April 24 did 40 loops. September in 25 this year did 54, last one standing at Sydney, and backed up a month later at Reds, last one standing with 53. And he had a lot in both events. He had so much in the tank. He really had a lot. So I think he's one also to watch.
Do you have one in August? I didn't think to look.
Yes. Yeah,
So
we got two in
that could
we
be
got
the
two in
one that
August.
explodes.
Yeah,
So
we
you
actually
got one
have
on, that's right, one on each
yeah,
side.
yeah, one on each side. So they're the last two, but it works well because it's like one half of Australia, the other half. So those two are going to be the last hurrah before you can get on the team. So yeah, those two people are assuming, yeah, as you're saying, they're gonna just be huge. So one of those is Reds, is my event. And it feels like it's sold out 3 times over. So it's going to be an interesting um, to see who gets into that event. Yeah.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't want to be there because you're going to be running the race, competing with your competitors, looking at the times on or the distances on the at-large list, and then you've got to watch the people on the other side of the country that they don't sneak by you while you're not watching.
Yes, yes. Well, last year, we had Barry Keane and Jonathan Ash. And at that time, because we were trying to calculate, because we had Clint's the weekend after, and obviously we're the first weekend of August they were second. And it was how much further how many more loops do you do so you don't get knocked off, but that you keep your legs a bit fresh in the legs as well. So there was a bit of calculation and predictions going there, and it was nailed well. And Shane had a lot to do with that as well, with the coordination. We were kind of all chatting about it, and it worked really, really well because he got onto the team. And did well over in Sat Champs. Jono did well in Sat Champs then. So it's that kind of thing that you're watching or trying to calculate or work out what the other race is going to do because it's a silver ticket, and although it's taking up a silver ticket spot, you need an assist. So who is that assist and whereabouts are they on that list, or how many are there, that are running in that upper level? So yeah, it's a fun game.
Last year, y'all knocked the U.S. off to take third, and which was
Oh, we
when
got
you get
second.
caught in that,
Got
yeah, I
second.
mean, they knocked us into third. Sorry,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I guess that should the Belgians be looking over their shoulder?
Well, the team are hungry. And I think so. I guess some of the benefit of the Belgium team is they can train together and they're a really cohesive team. They work together. Last Sat Champs, the Australian team did a bit of that, a lot more of that. And I think that's what went really well. And there was a couple of us that were chatting about this actually, and there was some commentary around, if Phil really pushes for captaincy, there is there's potential. I think there's potential. There is a few people that have, well, a couple that have already done 100. There's a few just under that, just pushing that they could potentially get to that 100. I think it would be tough. It can be tough because they're a good team, they're a strong team, but I don't think it's impossible. And I do believe, I don't know, maybe I'm just going to put it out there, is out in the universe that I think next year could be Australia's year. I think if they work really hard, work really tough, and really work well as a team, I think there's the potential, definitely the potential there.
I want to introduce a special guest here. This is the illustrious Sean Collins, the undisputed world's greatest expert on New Zealand backyards. He recently came back from having completely circumnavigated the South Island in one day. I swear I'm not making this up.
True story.
So we have just a couple of three questions to ask Sean here. The first one we want to know about Team New Zealand is, have y'all selected your venue?
What we're going to do, and we decided, is we'll get the team to vote, and we're doing that at the end of March when the team will be a bit more firmed up after 3 more silver ticket events, and so we'll get them to choose between the two venues.
That'll be cool. 'Cause y'all's race is in the it's in the spring and not the fall.
Yeah, so in the past we've switched it between the North Island and the South Island. So it was in the South Island last year, and even though it was in like you say the fall or our spring, the weather sort of ranged from being really, really warm, unusually, to being freezing cold in the night in the South Island. So a week after the event happened, there was actually a big dump of snow on the course, and it would have been like that deep in snow as they were running, which is pretty unusual for that time of year. And so next year at the Sat Champs, we're back in the North Island. And it's just choosing between the sunny Hawke's Bay or Wellington, which is our capital city.
Looking down through your roster, of course, at this point, the silver tickets haven't really gotten going, so most of them are the runners that are running elite races before. Are you expecting with the over the last couple of years to have some new faces pop up on that?
Yes, yeah, most of the team at the moment is spots that were taken at the last Sat Champs in 24. we've still got 4 tickets, silver tickets to hand out, which will happen in the first few months of the year. And the people winning the more recent events have all been new and not on the team, and there's been quite a few up and coming that are keen to get on the team. So I think we'll see quite a big change in the team over the next 6 months.
Yeah, the bottom end of the at-large list looked like they'd be vulnerable. I mean, of course, they're in the 40s, which is still, that's a pretty impressive performance, but a good competitive silver ticket race could carry 2 or 3 people up into that range.
Yeah, definitely. And now that there's so many backyards in New Zealand, the smaller local races aren't really attracting the top, I guess, potential people. And you're finding more that people are getting together in the background saying, well, I'm going to do this one. Let's all aim for that one. So they're picking events and encouraging the other potential high lappers to attend as well. So there's a few races coming up like that, that as well as having a silver ticket, we'll have some high caliber athletes there to bring up the total. You know, we've got Sam and Simon that have both done over 90, and I think we've got some people that are potentially able to get up definitely over the sort of over 50. I'd be surprised if we've got any that are in the 50s that are in the team. We should be up above that by the time we get to the SAP Champs next year.
I wondered if in the back of their minds might be that kind of like to knock Australia off.
Yes, yeah, we definitely do. There's always a healthy competition between Australia and New Zealand, whether it be rugby or any of the sports really. And backyards no different. We're probably a bit behind as far as the number of events and the speed of the uptake. But last year at the SAT Champs, we got up to 6th place, and we gave everybody a bit of a scare for a while. We had our complete team for the longest together with Belgium, I think it was, as
Yeah.
a full team. So that was quite impressive. We were happy with that, and then we slowly dropped off. And yeah, obviously Australia and Belgium and that kept on, but we're keen to beat our 6th place next year.
Oh, I'll be wishing you well. And the other thing I forgot to mention in your intro, and we can close with it, is that you're also, I believe, known as the greatest pizza chef on both islands combined.
Yeah, I think that's only based on the one mystery tester, which is yourself, Les. But yeah, we do enjoy the pizza oven, and we're stoked to show it to you.
It's mandatory for visitors to have some pizza.
Yeah, definitely. Easy for everybody involved.
Okay, folks, I guess that now everybody's ready to go out and do some extra training before the end of the year and get themselves ready to make a team. The only question that I see right now is why does Red sound like she's a Kiwi? Which is that's a pretty tough question for me because I come, of course, from the only place in the world where we speak perfect English with no accent whatsoever. And I thought she sounded kind of like she was from New Jersey. But so with that as the one question we had, I guess I was sitting here prepared with all the answers to all the great mysteries of life, how to get by without sleep, what's the most crucial part of the backyard, which is easy. It's the time, not when you're running, but how you manage the time between yards, because you have to squeeze a lot of stuff into a really short period of time. And sometimes people have to spread different bits of race management across several interlupal periods. And then, of course, the winning strategy for every backyard you go to. This is guaranteed, never loses. Keep going to the starting corral until you're the only one. And I guess with that bit of wisdom, if we're ready to go ahead and call it a stop, I think I want to talk to the guys this week, and I'm hoping that we can line it up and cover the Belgian team next year. Since they're the ones out there with the giant target on their back, it would be interesting to know what the secrets are for how they have managed to get the best out of all 15 runners every 2 years. So if no one has something to add, I'm ready to sign off and see you next week.